Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the vlog. I know I'm interrupting your regularly scheduled content of the daily style of vlogs, but here is the context behind all this. I do these vlogs, and I start to do these vlogs again in an effort to give you a behind-the-scenes look at my life and the decisions behind it. And I want to use this platform to give more context to today's story. Call it story time, call it whatever you want, into an event that is a pretty big milestone for me. It's pretty important to me, and that is my biggest investment ever. So, if you bear with me, let's jump into the story. So, to tell this, I wrote a blog post recently about this, and I want to give more context to it. That's why I'm doing this video. And to tell this, we have to kind of jump back first to the beginning, 4 years ago, 2013. I had just graduated high school. I was running my businesses full time, and I was reading about this thing called Bitcoin. I've heard about it before, but I never really kind of did a deep dive into it, despite me covering technology for a living. Bitcoin, what is it? Let's answer that question first and foremost. Now, the simplified version that I can give, and you can do more research on this, it's this digital currency that started in 2009, decentralized, meaning there's no government behind it. And it's this thing that was started that people, began to associate a value to in the most common sense of the word. Much like you have, for example, US dollars. You have, money that people associate a value with, and the same with Japanese yen or any other currency. So the markets kind of determine that price. The same thing with Bitcoin. Here is this online currency that people associate a value with, much like a dollar is a dollar, $100 bill is $100. So back in 2013, Bitcoin was on the rise. Here's this thing that was completely started almost out of thin air in a sense, and it was worth around $400 to $500 per coin. There's exchanges that you can go to where they will exchange a Bitcoin for US dollar, for example. Now this is super volatile, right? One day it can be worth 500, the other day it can be worth 100 or what have you. And I saw this as an opportunity to invest into something that I thought had potential to grow. Now, at the time, you gotta understand, I do a lot of what I do in an effort to eventually get to a point where I can become in the investment space, whether that's VC or angel investing, to kind of pass it and pay it forward. So this was my first personal, big investment. I had taken all my savings at the time, and when I say all my savings, I mean all my savings from, the last 7 years to pour into this concept that was Bitcoin. And I'm talking like a six-figure portion that I took and moved into Bitcoin. And there's, a lot of people advising me against it. Obviously, there's a lot of people who told me I was just pissing away my savings at this point. And obviously, there's a lot of risk and pressure. But with any investment, there's risk. A couple months passed, and Bitcoin in 2013, due to a series event, actually peaked. It grew and peaked at $1,300 per coin. So at this point, I had more than doubled. I had sold a pretty big share of the coins I had and profited. But at the time, I decided to hold on still, because I hold on to a bit of coins because I still thought that there was more potential for this to grow. And I remember at the time I had a great group of people who believed in this idea that I was talking about, and believed in this concept, and even invested their own money into coins as well. And they were telling me man, we never really it exceeded the expectation, so we should get out while we can. We got lucky, but still I maintained and I waited. And fast forward to 2017, over that 4 years, I've slowly bought coins over time, here, there, as price fluctuated, because I believe in this concept of fortunes are made in the down market and kind of collected, obviously, in the upswing of that. So that in combination with a hobby that I don't advise, but sports betting was something I was getting into, and my sports betting website allowed payout in form of Bitcoin. So here I was winning these sports bets and then collecting the amount in Bitcoin and accruing more coins. And I'm glad I did, because as of this week, alongside events like Japan recognizing it as a legal currency, Russia looking to do the same, Bitcoin has peaked at its highest point ever in 2017, or all time, since it started in 2009. It hit $2,100, and as of right now, as of this video, it's hovering around $2,080 per Bitcoin. and I had the ability to sell off a decent amount of coins and still have a, to me, a very decent amount left over. I still have hundreds of coins, 400 plus to be exact, in my Coinbase wallet after selling at the peak. So in the end, I think it's fair enough to say things have played out quite nicely. So the moral of this story is this: it's not to be like, hey, look at me and look at all this money that I made off of this. Rather, it is to remind you of a lesson that I had to remind myself along the way. And this doesn't just apply to investing, but I think life as a whole. And it's this idea that life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not necessarily about being the fastest, but looking at the bigger picture, pacing yourself. And with your core values, you really need to remember that sometimes. In this case, it came to amassing fortune and wealth in this investment for me. And it was about sticking to my principles of having my money make money, saving and investing, and then last but not least, probably the most important, patience. That original investment that I made 4 years ago, that over the time, there was a lot of stress, there was a lot of risk, there was just so much involved in that single investment. To say I have relief, to say I have excitement isn't enough. And I know that may not be coming across here in this video, but believe me, I've had the last couple of days to kind of let this all process. And you know what? It's not about the profit. It's not about the zeros that make me most excited. It's not about the overall, like, how much I made off of this, which is nice. What's the best thing about this is just knowing that I stuck to my gun. It's knowing that I listened to myself and my intuition enough to not to pull out, not to listen to what everybody was saying, not to listen to the noise and drowning out all that. And in the end, in my view, coming out on top. Now, does that mean down the road Bitcoin is going to, not tank, or it's going to be around 5 years from now? No, there's no guarantee of that. But at this point, I'm pretty satisfied where I came from in my original investment and to the point I'm at now. There is a fair amount of people along the way that I should also praise that really did believe in this idea and really did stick by me in my decision to do this, encourage me, and if not, they put their money where their mouth is and invested in it as well. And to those people, I can only hope that you, in your own ways, have not just profited from this financially, but figuratively as well. And in this lesson that I want to push out to everyone out there in my audience, that you got to remember sometimes, like I said, life, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Thanks for watching.